Well, hello everybody, and hello Steve from the NAB show floor.
Good morning. Hey, Kevin, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. This is strange. We're 8,500 miles apart, and
Yeah, this is a little different this year.
it sure is. So
So, everybody, I'm here at NAB 2025, and my buddy Kevin is in the UK at the moment.
I am indeed. So, for those of our followers and customers who couldn't make it over to the show, what we're going to try and do in the next 10 to 15 minutes is a quick run round the stand, isn't it, Steve? And show people some of the great new exciting products and features that we've showcased in the last couple of days.
Yes, we are, Kevin. And the first one we're going to look at is the brand new waveform monitor from LeaderPhabrix. It is a joint development of the two engineering teams, and it's a brand new waveform monitor that has four independent waveform engines. Those engines can point to either SDI or IP and any combination of IP and SDI. So you could have four IP inputs into this waveform monitor. And if you think about the math, that doesn't fit in a 25 gig pipe. So we have 100 gig connections. We have 25 gig connections, 100 gig connections, and four SDI connections. So here are the four SDI connections we have. Here's the 25 gig connections, and we are actually connected with QSFPs at 100 gig. So it is really, really a sweet brand new waveform monitor. The other thing that we have on this waveform monitor is an optional second screen, and the second screen is connected via nothing but a USB-C Thunderbolt cable. And we can take any analyzer, put on the second screen, and have complete control and complete processing on both screens. We also have the ability to take it up to a big screen and take the output, as you see here, or remote interface. And the remote interface can actually log into the main unit, or it can log into the remote screen. So it's a very, very full-featured waveform monitor, and it's really, really sweet. We have a QR code right there that you hit that, you'll get all the lit about this baby.
That's great because obviously we showed this at IBC, but it was an SDI only product. So it's great to see that the IP interface is now, operational and will be
Yes.
available with the shipping units.
Yeah, and this is looking at four 4K IP feeds. So it's outstanding that we have a product that can now do four 4K inputs. So we've got our 7600 rasterizer, our LV 7600 rasterizer, and we happen to have four inputs going into it that are coming off of a Grass Valley camera that we have sitting in the stand. We have an SDI feed coming out of the camera, a 2110-20 feed coming into the camera, uncompressed, a 2110-22 feed, compressed JPEG XS coming into the camera, and then I'm taking the feed, running it through a LUT, and making 709 out of the HLG input. And you can see the difference on this Sony monitor, that there's the HLG, nice and bright, clean, and the 709 output. So it's really sweet to be able to run the LUT inside the waveform monitor, and you don't need an external LUT box you can completely do all of your shading off of the internal LUT and have your output. So it's a really, really nice feature we have. And if I pop up a new preset here, the other thing that we have the ability to do is run our AV delay even through JPEG XS. So we have our pop flash coming in from a unit in the back room, coming in JPEG XS, and you can see I only have 1 millisecond offset. So you can do end-to-end AV delay even in JPEG XS.
I mean, that's, amazing. Now for live production, as you said, it's removing the hardware that's doing the HDR to SDR conversion. It's also acting as an IP gateway, so IP to SDI. This is simplifying live production considerably, isn't it, Steve?
Yes, it's taking IP to SDI, but not only that, it's your LUT box. It's running that through the LUT at the same time. We can take the raw 2110, run it through, or take the output and run it out the SDI. So yeah, it's really sweet.
If you've already got a 5600 or 7600, it's the HDR software license SER23 that enables this to happen with version 7.9 software. So if you've got the HDR license and you've not got 7.9, go and visit our website, www.LeaderPhabrix.com, and visit the support page, and you'll be able to download that software and enjoy these features. So moving across, I can see an eye pattern, Steve.
Yes, sir. What we're showing here is our SDI stress, where for manufacturing and engineering, we have the complete tool set to be able to verify that your SDI output is doing what you need it to do and be able to stress your receiver design from a PLL lock point of view and actually manipulate the output so that we can stress your receiver design to make sure it's going to take whatever the world throws at it.
I mean, this is just absolutely critical for any manufacturers of broadcast equipment, isn't it, Steve? That
Yeah.
you've got to be able to test above and beyond, the parameters that your customers are going to be using. And obviously, we've got it both in the QXP and the QXL. So whatever form factor is most convenient for manufacturer's operation, we've got a tool that fits their requirements. Now this looks a bit more IP-ish.
Yes. So this is the equivalent of what we were doing on the SDI side, but over on IP for manufacturers, we have the ability to give you the tool sets, be able to measure all of the integral parts of IP that you need, and build your IP solutions with the IP side of the PHABRIX QXP or QXL, and be able to test all of this.
That's looking really good. And, that customized layout, allows you to size and position the analysis tools that, you need to focus on when you're monitoring these IP systems, because there is so much now going on with them, isn't there, that we need to be aware of.
Yes, there is.
And there again is the QR code for anybody watching this who wants more information.
And the next one we have is the Leader LV5600. The 7600 that we looked at earlier is the same box, but in this case, we're showing a hybrid case where we actually have SDI coming in, and we actually have IP coming in on 4 inputs. So we have SDI, the IP going through the gateway of that. We have the SDI, the IP of the gateway going through. And one of the nice things you can do is you can look at the waveforms, make sure everybody's coming through nicely. But beyond that, up here, if you notice, we're getting captions off of our SDI, and we got an issue here that I'm not getting captions through on my IP. So it's very easy for the operator. Doesn't have to go into some menu and dig out some data. They can see visually on the screen that my captions aren't getting through, my SCSI triggers aren't getting through, and you can set them side by side and make sure your gateway or your IP feed is doing what you need it to do for business.
You know, that's great, because although people say they're running an IP facility, we know it's going to be a hybrid facility. There's going to be SDI, there's going to be IP, and we know ancillary data gets lost, or it's never actually attached to the stream. So this, you know, is building on all of that SDI knowledge that broadcasters have and allowing them to use that in an IP world by having a true hybrid device.
And here we've got the LPX500 again, but in this case, we are running it in a hybrid mode where we have SDI and IP coming in, but with the ability to do 4K traces in SDI or IP. So we have a mixture of SDI and IP coming in. And here's a case where we can actually take analysis engines that are not on the main screen, and we can run them over on the optional extended monitor. So there is nothing lost in using that extended monitor. You do not have any reduction in capabilities or functionality.
I mean, that's amazing, Steve, because obviously we've seen other devices that the second screen is just a full screen display. And
yeah,
you know, here, you know, I've said to people, the only restriction on what you want to show is basically your imagination now.
Yes. Yeah. Every single analyzer that we have can be placed on that extended screen. And you could take this main screen here with the 4 horizontal layouts. You could do vertical layouts like we did on the other side. All of that could be sitting on the extended screen if you wanted.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And then again, we have the web interface logged into the remote. We could log in just as easy into the main unit. And you could have them both up simultaneously if you've got twin screens.
That's amazing. That's looking really good, Steve. What have you got next for us? Ah, references.
Yes.
The piece of a broadcast facility that's never spoken about.
The heart of what has to take place to make everything else work is our SPG, the sync pulse generator. We have a beautiful hybrid sync pulse generator that has the ability to lock on GPS. It can lock on 5 different GPS systems so that you can have that much more accuracy and help with rain fade and everything else. We have twin PTP outputs. We have 2 25 gig test signal outputs that can be mirrors of each other for pure red blue, or if you're doing 4K test patterns, since you can only get 2 4Ks and 1 25 gig pipe, and you want all 4, we could do 2 here and 2 different ones over here. So we have the ability with those ports to make them mirror each other or make them complete separate outputs. 4 25 gig SDI outs. We have our 6 blackouts that can be bi-level, tri-level, each one independently timable. We have our AES, DARS word clock, and AES test signal out. The other beautiful thing about this SPG, besides the gorgeous web interface that we have for it, is that we have also introduced hot swappable fans. You do not need to unrack the thing, take the cover off to get in to change a fan. The fan is held in by 2 screws. It takes 15 seconds to swap that fan out. It is beautiful. I've been told by several people that they're having more fan failures now than they're having power supply failures. So you do not have to send the unit back to base or yank it out and tear it apart to change out the fan in the back or the fan that's in the front. They're identical fans and can swap out the fan very, very quickly. We also have hot swappable power supplies. Twin supplies that you can turn around if you have a power supply failure. They are switching supplies, so they do what switching supplies are going to do eventually. And you can pop that supply out, pop a new one in, hot, without affecting service.
So, Steve, one thing I'm hearing a number of customers are now looking at, because they're having to integrate their broadcast IP systems into the IT systems in the facility. And we can become a slave, can't we? Sorry, I'll use the correct terminology, a follower of PTP.
Yes, Kevin. We can take one of our ports. They're both bi-directional. They can be a source port or a sync port, if you will. We can use it as an external sync. So yes, we can lock onto a PTP source that you may already have from doing a bunch of audio work or something else. Could be even on a different floor. The best way to spread your blackburst and test signals on multiple floors is you turn around and PTP lock this unit. The PTP will lock at the same clock efficiency that the GPS is, and then it can output PTP on that floor. It can output all test patterns and everybody else, and everybody's still locked to house reference. And then we have, of course, our ECO. And we have the ability to take all the black and AES and SDI test patterns and run them through the emergency changeover so that we can switch between the two. We also have the ability to control the SPG, that if the PTP fails over to the opposite unit, you'd like to get all your test patterns and black off of that unit so you can maintenance it. We will automatically also transition those to the second unit if you wish. And the inverse, that if we have a black issue, we can have the PTP seamlessly switch over to the second unit. So it's really nice from a maintenance perspective.
And Steve, I also understand, obviously, broadcast engineers are familiar with black and burst, stay in sync, and then slow sync when GPS returns, that these units support that for both black and burst and PTP.
Yes, and that's because we have one central oven-controlled crystal that all outputs are tied to, so they can never diverge from each other. They will always be absolutely in sync with each other the whole time because they are off of one oven-controlled crystal. And for those of you doing flight packs or in trucks where you don't have GPS, we are an NTP client, so we can lock date and time. Then we also become an NTP server, and we can serve that date and time out to everybody that needs NTP. We aren't going to lock to that NTP because our internal crystals about 100 times more accurate than NTP is, but
Yeah.
we will lock date and time to it.
That's looking good. You know,
So, Kevin, we've got something brand new over
oh,
here next. A lot of people are doing NDI in certain places because it's really easy to put up a PTZ camera someplace, remote control it, and have a compressed link come back with the data from that camera. But there's no monitoring solutions on the planet right now for looking at that NDI signal. We have a solution here for looking at NDI. It is a, I can't say real-time tool, but real-time minus the delay of what the decoder is, but it is an active view of what's going on in the top left corner. It's looking at all of the sources that you have on the wire coming in. And then we're going to give you the resolution, the frame rate, the back of how the color is put together. Is it interlaced? The aspect ratio, what we detect from a status standpoint, how many frames per second we're getting in, and the bit rate. And if these deviate beyond what you want, we can turn around and run out the output into a log file. So if you drop frames, if you're having bit rate issues, we can build this with a date time log file that you can pull back and you can look at what is going on. So for people putting PTZ cameras or NDI devices in, you can verify that the output of that device is good and actually chase that back all the way through your network and find where your issues are.
this is great, Steve, because I know talking to people, their solutions in the past have been, well, you have to run like a command line prompt to go and interrogate the NDI system,
Yeah,
or
and you get this little bit right here,
yeah,
and that's it. It's a snapshot of that instant in time,
yeah,
not this bit in real time, virtually minus the delay of the decoder.
yeah, or
So it
the
is
other
beautiful.
applications, the other
Mhm.
applications I've seen is you sort of say, well, I want to monitor for 5 minutes,
Yeah,
but what
yeah, it's
happens
a
if your
running
production's
log of
delayed?
what's going on. Yeah,
You know, oh, sorry, we only monitored 2 minutes of it because it started late. You know, if you're doing a press conference or something like that. So, you know, I think
yeah.
this, and my understanding is that this is a software only product.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we sell a 1 year license or a 3 year license, and you just put it on your laptop. We have a bunch of integrators that want to turn around and have each one of their techs have this sitting on their laptop because they are doing a ton of NDI. It's been a really big hit.
Excellent. And if you want more information, there it is. You can visit our website, register your interest, and you'll get notification as soon as the software is available to download. And obviously, Steve, we've moved into the world of remote monitoring. And
Yes,
this looks like a fairly comprehensive suite. You've already touched on some of these, haven't you, with the WebRTC and no VNC connections?
yes. So this is actually a WebRTC of our waveform monitor in the back room. And as you can see with the waveform and the picture, it is live. And I am in this case looking at all of the IP stats for this particular input. So all of the functionality you have from the front of either the rasterizer or the conventional waveform monitor, we have coming in a 30 frame per second display. And the beautiful thing about it, you have full control over the display that if you want to drop out to full picture, if you want to drop out to a vector, You can turn around and just have a waveform, and you still have the controls, because it is a web page, of being able to zoom in or zoom out and get very, very detailed data back of what's going on.
That's amazing, because you see, we're seeing more and more people now requiring tools like this for confidence monitoring, that they've got the right picture, it looks right. If there's an issue, they can then escalate it, for a more detailed analysis to either one of the LeaderPhabrix or the LPX500 for that detailed analysis.
So we still have our famous handheld units that PHABRIX is known for. We still have all of the different versions here. We have the SXE, which is the most popular for doing SDI work. We have our tag over in the top left corner, which is still got all the analog functionality as well as SDI functionality and the ability to put in an SFP. So these are phenomenal handheld units. They are the biggest handheld unit in the world.
Yeah, I think it's
And
now.
for those, go
Did
ahead.
we say it's over 9,000 units now shipped?
Yes, 9,000, over 9,000 units shipped of these guys now.
So
It's just phenomenal.
Who's going to get number 10,000?
Sure. And
obviously, we have the RX for those customers who HD SDI, is going to be the mainstay of their business, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. So if you are doing SDI up through 3G, your plant is never going to go beyond that. We do still have a SDI only waveform monitor that has the tools that you need for running a conventional broadcast station that's never going to go beyond 3G, and have the ability to have 4 independent inputs, be able to run these out the big screens as well as the internal screens here, and have all of the inputs color coded on the screen, have a running log of what's going on, be able to look at eye patterns even. It's a phenomenal SDI tool.
I mean, as an engineer, you can't beat the RX. It's just giving you such level of detail, in a compact form factor and a multi-tool analysis. It's the only tool on the market that's got 4 eye patterns.
Yes. Yeah, you can actually have an eye pattern for each one of the 4 live inputs on the screen. It's remarkable.
So it's great to see, Steve, that we're not, we're at a technology show and everybody's asking about the latest and greatest, but there's a lot of the world out there that still has to make a living.
Yes, there is still a lot of the world that has to make a living. So, Kevin, our final stop.
Yep.
Here, we still have our little baby here that I love, the LP5350. Anybody that's running a JIT card, camera shading on set, if you just need a simple shading tool to go in a short depth rack, this thing is phenomenal. Complete separate layouts. You can set the screen up however you like. False color, HDR false color. It has the diamond display in it for doing camera shading. It is a beautiful tool for being able to go from SD all the way up through 4K.
And my understanding is, Steve, with the battery option that's available for it, for both the V-Lock and the Anton Bauer, you can put 3D LUTs on it. So if you're in a remote production where there's no power and you can't power up a LUT box, you can see what the LUT's going to look like on the waveform monitor.
Yes. We have 10 slots. You can put 10 different LUTs in there and call up which LUT you need to use for the application you are currently doing and view the data on the screen through that LUT. Yes.
That's phenomenal. So, Steve, it it looks, we've got a comprehensive range here. As you said, how's it been received by customers at the show?
Yes, we most certainly do, Kevin. So this is what we were showing everybody this year at NAB. So if you were not able to make it to the show, I hope this little short video gives you a little bit of information. And like we've said, it's website super simple. It's just LeaderPhabrix.com, and all of the information is right there. Get a hold of myself or Kevin, and we will definitely help you out, guys.
Yeah. Well, I better not delay you any longer. I know it's the last day of the show, and I can see by that smile on your face, it's almost demob time. But
it is definitely the last day of the show. I love doing these shows, but yes, when it comes to the last day, it's always nice.
But I'm telling everybody now, this is no secret. This is the bit I'm not going to miss, because at 2 o'clock this afternoon, you've got to put this back in its boxes and pack it all up. And
yep, man, I have to put my office back together because my office is sitting in here.
Yeah. Well, I think you've got some of my office sitting there as well. So just make sure
I do. I've
back.
got some of your office even in here.
Yeah. Well, Steve, thank you once again. As I said, all the best to the team over there. For those of our viewers, we're going to be back fairly soon, aren't we, with another webinar. We've talked about 3D LUTs, so we're planning on coming back to explain what 3D LUTs are, why you use them, and why having them in a waveform monitor is, it's essential, isn't it, Steve?
It is beautiful, but Kevin, the things that we can do are amazing with those 3D LUTs.
Yeah.
And it's part of the base unit, guys. It's not even an option. So beautiful. Thank you very much, Kevin, and look forward to seeing you shortly, my friend.
Thank you very much, Steve, once again. That's great. Have a good day.
Take care, everybody.
All the best. Bye.